Good morning. Stacy Rasky here with the official MC to our epic influential impact leadership experience event workshop. I don't even know the words to use to describe it at this point. This is just going to be some epic shit and some massive transformations going to happen while we're there. So for those of you, if you have not gotten your tickets yet, you've got to join us February 18th, 19th in Tampa. So if you're in a snowstorm right now, come on down. It's nice and warm down here. Still chilly for us Floridians that I fully own now, but come on down. It'll be way warmer than wherever you're at. But I am so honored and excited to be joined by the amazing Danny Galvez. Welcome, welcome.
I brought a friend.
Oh!
There we go. Esther, I told you I'll give you some time, but you got to be patient. We have things to do. We have important things to do here. So, Stacy, thanks so much for having me join you this morning. So, we probably lost about 15 people right there. They're like, okay, I'm out right now. I got to go. So,
right. Good morning, Nick. That is so funny. Yeah, they're like, what kind of crap is this? Is chicken in the morning? What's happening right now?
Chicken in the morning is great. So, but yeah, this is one of the things that if you really want to terrorize people in your house, get yourself something like this. It's a huge pattern interrupt. So when you start making excuses in your life, stops you right there. So
that is true. Wiley's got the easy button. You've got Esther.
That's right. I have Esther.
I love it. Well, first and foremost, I would love for those of you who don't know the epicness that is you, take a moment and introduce yourself and all the magic you are bringing in the world. Good morning, Vanessa.
Okay, well, pretty short and simple. My name's Danny Galvez, and I don't know if I was born to be an MC or a DJ or a hype man or whatever, but I've kind of just allowed my path to evolve naturally. And it started when I was like 21, got into radio. I went on a scholarship to a radio school, and by the skin of my teeth, I tried college, didn't work very well. Worked in that for about 17 years, worked in corporate catering to supplement, because radio DJs, contrary to what you believe, they do not make a lot of money. And when their jobs are done, they're on to the next one. So at the level I got to, I never went to major market, but I was fortunate to work consistently over the long period in radio. So I did that. When that was finished, I ended up getting into the mortgage industry, where I became a loan officer, and I worked on a team and ended up scaling the company to $100 million in production the last couple of years I was there. And then from there, I was narrating audiobooks. I got stir crazy. At that point, I was married and went to the closet, my fourth bedroom of my house, and started narrating audiobooks. And I looked up, and 40 books later, I'm doing other stuff. So I was also a wedding DJ too. So, and that just kind of fueled my fire and kept me busy. When I think what happens when people get married, sometimes they're like, man, is this it? Like, is this all we're going to do? Like, I want to do something else. Like, you can't travel all the time. You can't do all the things that you do as married people all the time. So you're like, I need to fill my time with something productive. So I took a deep dive into self-development and just kind of put all my superpowers together like a transformer. So.
I love it. Such a unique story, right? For all of us, we have such powerful and unique stories.
Yeah, and one of the things, like, all those superpowers that attracted the attention of Ryan Stewman, which is how you and I met. We met through Apex, and it was fantastic because, like, had you and I not met him, we probably would not have met, if you think about that. So and and maybe we would have met. Who knows, right? I think everybody's on a certain divine assignment on this planet. So it's fantastic to be able to meet you, and you see other people who have struggled with the same things that you're struggling with in life, and then go, well, wait, I got some superpowers in my toolkit. Let me go get them real quick, and then let's compare and see how we can help each other.
Oh, so good. Exactly. So tell them, share a bit about all the ways you work with your clients now outside of the MC magic voice side of things, because you do a lot.
I do quite a bit. It's not all rubber chickens and laughter, and it's one of those things where you do have to have, over the course of my career, I established a lot of different different skill sets. A lot of it was copywriting. So back when I was in radio, I became a copywriter. I was a producer of radio commercials back in the day. They'd get on and be like, hey, it's 10:45 right now, Kiss 102. And, so we did the announcing part, but then we went and we would write commercials for businesses. Hey, come on down to Bob's Pet Barn and we're going to be bloom, blah, 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 live Friday night. You come on out and see us. And it was a struggle because you knew, like, number one, the first thing in radio, they usually don't give you your real name. They don't allow it. They're looking at it from a marketing and branding standpoint, going, how does this make our brand better? You need to fit into our brand. So they give you a name, they give you a fake name, and then they tell you to talk about real things, which is, it's kind of a conflict of interest emotionally and spiritually. So if you think about it, it's like, wait, so you want me to be somebody else, but not that person, and you want me to be myself. It's weird. So I think that causes a lot of confusion. But throughout that process, I learned a lot about marketing and branding, having conversations with people. I must have talked to thousands upon thousands of people by the time I was 25, 26 years old, just in the scope of answering phone calls at a radio station, and the importance of, why you need to take the time to listen to people, number one, and number two, have real discussions with them. So there's always a reason that they're reaching out. My duties from there, like as part of the radio station, I started doing a lot of live events because we'd go out to live broadcast. And then when I went into the mortgage industry, I had to use the different part of my brain. I had to do a lot of critical thinking. I had to do a lot of exploration. I had to be resourceful. I had to be great at research. I had to ask a lot of questions. So I'd use the critical thinking part of my brain, which was kind of taxing to start because I was coming from a place where I'd walk in and be like, all right, we're going to talk about Miley Cyrus today. It's great. Let's go, girls. And with that, I uncovered the power of who I was in terms of a business leader and professional. Now I work with clients, and like for you, instance, Stacy, we narrated your book, and I edit those books and get those distributed to iTunes, Audible, and Amazon. And I also produce podcasts for people every single month. So right now we're climbing up to 10. So it's there are many different ways. And I also onboard clients for Apex executive clients that come into Apex. And emceeing, DJing events, that's just half of it. The other part is troubleshooting and finding out what it is that people need in their businesses. And I just had a couple of conversations yesterday with a couple of executive level people. They're business owners. Some of them have multiple businesses. One gentleman has 4 businesses that he's working on. The common theme seemed to be, uncovering what the pain points are, because it doesn't matter how successful you are. It doesn't matter how accomplished you are. It doesn't matter if your life looks great on social media. There are going to be some pain points. There are going to be things that come up. And that's a lot of what I do with our clients. Like I uncover like those pain points. I ask for the information, like what's really going on with you. Let's have a real discussion. I need you to tell me things that you don't tell anybody else, because if you don't, then I'm not going to be able to help you. And that's a lot of what I do in working with clients.
That is amazing. And I feel like that's that perfect segue then into what you'll be talking about at our amazing event. And I would love for you to share a teaser, because you are that person. You help people really just get to the root, get to the soul of what story or limitation they've been buying into. And then you have that magical power of like seeing that clear, simple pathway to whatever that next step is.
That came from a discussion as I was on that journey. And I'll share a lot of this at the event too, because I don't think that you can have a real conversation if you're not willing to share real things. And I'll take you back to a time, it was probably 2018. At this point, I had already narrated 50 audiobooks. I'd landed my first direct paid client, but I was at this crossroads of my life because I was married at the time. I'd been married close to 12 years at that point. And I hit a brick wall, and I had one meeting, and I'm going to share how powerful the universe is, kind of give you an idea. I was contemplating whether or not I wanted to be married. I knew that things weren't working well. It was isolation. There was being sequestered. I was living in the 4th bedroom of my house for the last couple of years. and I would just work. That's what I did. I went to work. I would hang out with my children. I'd make dinner, but I didn't live in my bedroom at all. I'd probably take a shower there, but my relationship was dry and it was dead, and it was uninspiring. I was out of shape, and there was sadness. Like there were nights when I was crying. Like I would cry myself to sleep because I didn't know what to do. I was miserable, but I wasn't doing anything about it. And Ryan at Apex, he had invited me to come MC one of his events, and I wasn't even connected with the organization officially at that point. I was just showing up, be like, "Hey man, I'm doing this thing. Why don't you come and MC?" I was like, "Okay, cool, I'll be there." And this was great because I was going through this huge transformation in my life. I was contemplating. I knew it was right there under the surface, and I was looking and praying, asking for some type of clear, direct message because, like, I'm a hard-headed human being, and I think like unreasonably.
Who isn't?
And, you and I talk about that all the time. Like most people are hard-headed. We can't get out of our own way to save our lives, right? And I walked in and I was editing a book for Sean Whalen at the time, and he didn't know this. But I was at the hotel that night. We just got done setting up. I was helping my friend. She was kind of managing the helm at the time. And we got done. I was like, "Hey, have you eaten yet?" She goes, "No." I said, "Okay, great. Let's go eat." And in comes walking Sean Whalen into the hotel lobby. I'd met him once. Just like, "Hey, man, what's up? How's it going?" It's like, "Hey, did you eat yet?" He goes, "No, I didn't." I said, "Okay, cool." So we sat down that night and we had a discussion. And the one question that he asked me was this. Like, "What do you want?" He's like, "All this other stuff doesn't matter. Whether you're married, you have kids, whether you got a job, whether you're like, what do you want?" I was like, "Man, I just got $50,000 worth of coaching advice in one dinner." And I sat down and he said, "I want you to go home." And Sean told me this. He goes, "I want you to go home and write down everything that you want on a piece of paper." I went home after the event. It was a great event. I threw out rubber chickens, actually. It was great. I threw out like 40 of these things. Yeah, listen, grown men love rubber chickens. Just FYI, we're that simple. So if you're looking for something that's a hard to buy for a person, get the important man in your life a rubber chicken. You will make his week. So I'm just telling you, the mom will not appreciate it. Be like, "Do not bring that chicken in this house," right?
It's like squeaky toy.
It is like squeaky toy. It is. I can tell you this. That conversation was very transformative in pushing me forward. I started asking those important questions on that piece of paper. And when I looked at them, I said, well, there's going to have to be some action behind each one of these things that I want. And in order for me to have each and every single thing that I want, I'm going to have to do some work. I'm going to have to make some changes. I'm going to have to ask for some conclusions. I'm going to have hard discussions, not just with myself, but with the other person. And that's what I did. And it was ugly. It was like ugly crying emotionally. If you know what that looks like, you're like, "I'm not crying." And you're like, "No, you're crying." And it was terrible. It was like cats in heat. You're like, "Ah!" It's like, shut those cats up. And I got to tell you, the answer that I came to when Sean had finally asked me that question was, I want a different life. And that's where my journey began in terms of turning it around. I got more work done in the last 3 years than I did in the previous 13 by simply being honest and real with myself first, and then having a conversation. No accusations, no lambasting, no dressing someone down. It was simply a surrender. I had to surrender and give up everything that I had in order to get everything that I wanted. And Stacey, it's one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. So, yeah. Liberation.
Right. Well, and it is. I mean, you hit on two huge aspects is one that I mean, really, right? We talk about that sort of that radical ownership or that extreme ownership, as Jocko says. But we've got to be radically honest with ourselves first. And I think I talk about this all the time. How the biggest mask we wear is the one with ourselves, because we are great at lying to ourselves about who we're being, what we're feeling, and what we're doing every day. And that is the biggest limiting factor to really stepping into our highest purpose and potential and performance to create the impact we're called to make in the world. And being able to facilitate not only stepping into that radical honesty, but also being able to get clear on what do we need to surrender? What do we need to let go of in order to allow ourselves to get to that next level? Is just really clearing that pathway to greatness.
Yeah, and you're so right. And I think it's very simple when you step back and you look at it. But you have to remove yourself from the equation in order to see everything you need to see, so you know what it is you need to do when you need to do it. And you already know what you need to know. It's within you. It's a beacon. It's almost like a honing device, a tracking device, right? Like you didn't come here by yourself. You came here with a certain purpose and mission. And I believe inside of that light that keeps you animated every single day, it tells you if you're on track. It's kind of like a gauge on a gas meter, right? If you're running empty, it's gonna light up. And it's the same thing for your soul. If you're not in alignment with who you're supposed to be, if you're not living in the purpose you're intended to be, the agreement that you made with the creator before you came here, bing, it's going to go off and let you know. There's going to be pain if you stay. There's going to be pain if you go, and you have to choose that pain. One of the two is greater. But if it's the one that keeps you out of alignment, that's probably going to be the one that sucks your soul dry. So when you start having those real conversations with yourself, it's great. It's liberating. It's very liberating. You can go to bed at night. You can enjoy who you are. Everything that you were waiting for and anticipating starts to show up. So it's going to take a little courage, though. And it's going to be a lot of ugly crying, too. So that's for sure.
Yeah, Danny just said it, right? Danny Jessup, real talk. We're having some real talk this morning.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I love that is absolutely the energy that you're going to be bringing. Not only the high energy, the fun, the humor, the engagement, but your ability to get people to really hit them in the feels and get vulnerable with themselves really fast. And that is, it's just going to be like, all right, peeps, take off the mask. We're in safe space. This is our time to do the real work and make some shit happen. So for those people, why do they need to come to this event? What is going to make this different from your perspective? A lot of the people who are going to be here sharing their genius and dropping bombs and helping people to create this transformation. What makes this setup different from other events and workshops and all the things, not only that you've attended, but I mean, being willing to come in and participate in the way that you are, right? Obviously, that's calling to your soul as well.
Yeah, and Stacey, first I want to say thank you for the invitation. And I said in 2021, I need to support and be on other stages. And not in a bad way, like we're all helping each other, right? Because we even talked about this a few years ago. I said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we built out the network where we could all start hosting events and then go and support? Like that's next level goals, where you already have familiarity, you already have camaraderie, and you've established friendships and trust with people. Why not just keep doing the same thing you're doing, but with them as well too, and helping support? It's amazing what happens when we come together. And like, by the way, if you're watching this, go to vipstacy.com. You're going to want to reserve your ticket and get to Tampa, because the lineup, and I know quite a few of the people that are invited to this, like Chris Whitehead. I love Chris. I had a very good conversation with Chris on the beach in Cabo with he and his wife, Robin. And all three of us were crying. We were standing by these big rocks. If you've never been to Cabo, Cabo's huge rocks, like massive mountains and everything, very rocky. And it's like one of those things where you realize how small you are as a human being. And we were on one of the most dangerous beaches, just kind of taking a morning walk. We wanted to see the sunrise. And the stuff that we talked about there, it was unprompted. It wasn't like, hey man, I need to talk to you about something. It was just a natural flow that came out. And me and Robin and Chris probably talked. We probably could have talked for another 2 hours there. And that's the level of heart and passion that Chris carries with him. Chris has been down some very dark tunnels in his life, but he's also risen like the phoenix. And if you go, and when you go to this, to Influential Impact, you'll have the pleasure of meeting him. He's a warm, kind, friendly guy, but he's also the guy that will yell, I love you. And you'll be like, why are you yelling? And he'll be like, I love you. And you'll be like, okay. He'll do anything for you. Humble, kind, assertive, and he'll call you on your shit too. And those are the kind of people that you need to have in your corner. Those are the kind of people that you need to be able to go and have that objective conversation with, where there is no judgment. Influential impact. You get in the room. It's like, hey, let's, like you said, we're in the safe space. So let's strip off the layers and get to the real work that needs to be done. So, and Chris is a worker too. And Stacy, the thing about this event that I'm excited about is just all of the implementation that's going to be done. The most impactful events, not to use a play on words, but like the most impactful and transformative events are the ones where you're not sitting in a room all day just listening to people talk. It's theory and then implementation. Okay, it's not just theory, it's theory based on experiences. That makes it completely different. So Chris Whitehead's going to be there. Michelle Fuller's going to be there, which I've not met her in person, but I hear great things about Michelle. She and I are connected. Joey Yak, man, I love that dude. I met him, that same $1 million mastermind that I had that revelation at. I met Joey Yak, and Joey's probably going to tell some of his story. But when I met him, he flew to Dallas on a quick invitation. It cost him $800, and he put it on his credit card. His credit card was almost maxed out, and he didn't even stay at a hotel. I met him.
Didn't he sleep in his car or something?
Yeah, I think he did, or he had done something at that particular event, but I didn't know. Like, he didn't tell. He was very guarded and stuff. But when I met him, I was like, "Hey man, what's up?" Hey, I was like, "Did you eat yet?" He goes, "No." I said, "Why don't you come with me?" So we went to go eat lunch, and he barely ate anything. I was ready to like spoil him. I'm like, "Here, man, like you came in, you flew into town. Let me take care of you, right?" Because I was like, I love Ryan. Ryan has been so good to me. Ryan is a friend and somebody I consider, like, I love and honor Ryan because of the human being that he is. I'm not a clout chaser. And because of him, I've met people like you. I've met people like Chris Whitehead. I'll be meeting people like Michelle Fuller when I see them in person. And Joey Yak's one of those people. Just down to earth, hardworking, do whatever it takes, no excuses types of human beings. And those are the people that are going to continue to keep the world afloat and keep them moving forward. And I love it because Joey was so humble and kind. And we just, like, we chopped it up, we ate, and went back and did the event. And that event was the beginning of his explosion. That's where he created a business, studio CEO, and he started to put things together. And I've got to tell you, one chance meeting, one opportunity. That's why it's important to get to influential impact. You need to be in the room with these human beings. Let's see who else is going to be there. William Branham's going to be there. Grace is going to be there. Great. Is it Laney?
Grace Laney. Yeah.
Yeah, Grace Laney. Yeah, I can't wait to meet them. Let's see. Patrick LaRouge is going to be there too.
You met him.
Yeah, I did meet Patrick. I met him briefly, and I didn't get a chance to talk more to him. But that's like, these are the things that I'm really excited about, because I want to know things about people. Not because I'm going to put them in the collection of my pictures on the wall, but because, like, I want to know things about people, because I don't care what you have. I don't care what you do for work. I don't care about who your friends are. I want to know about you. I want to know something about you that's intimate, because, like, there's either going to be an opportunity to discuss it, or it's going to be cathartic for you to release it and talk about it. Or you might even come across a revelation that was there the whole time, that you needed to just have the discussion with the right person. Dr. Brian Hawley's going to be there. This man,
he's amazing.
This dude's amazing. He's amazing. You talk about, he's right up there too with all of these individuals that are going to be at the event that I know personally that are going to be there. You're going to walk in and be like, oh my God, I got a 6-pack of gold and human beings just sitting around me, because of the quality of their spirits and the way that they care and the way that they work. And these guys, they're all workhorses. You're not just going to learn theory. like we had talked about. You're
Oh
gonna
yeah, everybody's done the work. That's the thing. Full spectrum from, former Navy SEAL all the way to, music, to branding, to leadership, to body work, breath work, energy work. I mean, we got the whole gamut, and all of it applies to leadership. And it's all from people who've done the work themselves and are leading the way.
Yeah, and I love it. Abraham Heisler is going to be there. Of course, you will be there. And one of my favorite people too, Wiley MacArthur, is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I think I covered the whole list of everybody that's on. But
yeah,
I gotta say, and
amazing.
Wiley's fantastic because you know what? Wiley, I did this session with him, and it was fantastic because he took me through a timeline edit. There was something that I was stuck on that I couldn't get past. And if you want to collapse time, if you were tired of waking up in the morning dealing with the same shit in your head, you've got to be at InFLOWential IMPACT because you're going to meet people like Wiley, like Chris Whitehead. You're going to meet people like Joey Yak. You're going to meet people like Grace. Okay. You're going to meet people like Stacy. If you've never met Stacy in person, Stacy, I got to tell you, and I might embarrass you a little bit here, but when I met you at first and we talked, that was different. But when I met you in person, that truly gave me a good understanding of who you are as a person. Calm, cool, confident, collected, focused, objective, but sensitive and kind.
Thank you.
And I got to tell you, it's a wonderful thing when those two things match up before you meet and in person. But the in person is priceless. So make sure you go to VIPstacy.com. Get your
VIPstacy.com/impact.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But I got it up on the screen. We're good. Thank you so much, Danny. I love it. You hit on the feels. You hit on the power of it. This is going to be a small, intimate event too. We capped it at 100 people. I mean, it's literally... You're so funny. Literally, a high level, high touch, high support with all of these experts, being able to share their energy, their wisdom, their genius with each individual to get the work done. So yes, head on over to VIPstacy.com/impact to get those tickets. Doors close on February 1st. Come join us for this powerful, powerful experience. Thank you so much, Danny, for joining me today. And for those of you watching, head on over, grab your ticket, and stay tuned because we've got a couple more in the pipeline for our final speaker interviews. And we'll almost be done. All right, everybody have an absolutely amazing day. Bye.